Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight to Lenox Board of Selectmen meeting on Wednesday, October 6th at 7 p.m. at Town Hall. This is our 7 p.m. regular meeting. I have not really too many announcements from the chair. I would like to ask people, now that the leaves are starting to fall, to try to remember to clean the street drain grates in front of their houses of leaves and help our Department of Public Works to keep those drains flowing nicely. I just took care of ours today and I feel pretty good about it, so that's why I'm going down this road. I would entertain the acceptance of minutes for September 22nd.
Madam Chair, I would move that we accept the minutes of September 22nd.
Do I have a second?
A second?
Okay,
I did.
great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain, thank you. One abstention. Now we have citizens open forum. Would anybody like to address? Thank you. As usual, state your name and your street address.
Okay. Some of you will recognize Ellen Jacobson and I, Kate McNulty Vaughn, 10 Post Road, as the Fix-It Fair folks. So I'll turn this over to Ellen.
Okay, so a lot of you recognize this, and the Fix-It Fair that we were doing in the town hall or so forth, we cannot do under the health circumstances. So we talked it over and decided we would have a virtual Fix-It Fair. This is going to be something where those people who need something done will call the community center, speak to Darlene, she will take notes, and we will call them. Then they can drop off their item at the community center and fill out a sheet of paper, and we will call them when it's fixed. It'll take place 2 weeks from what is it?
Well, we're not totally set on dates yet, but it's likely to be late October into November.
The last week of October and the first week of November. And Darlene has offered to answer to answer the phone at the community center. So we think we can do it. And what else do I have to tell them, Kate?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. Basically, the volunteers will be doing this at their own homes. In addition to Darlene, people can also call either Ellen or me, and we'll have those phone numbers. Darlene has suggested that we ask people to make the call about the Fix-It Fair on the senior phone line, which is 5535. And we will be getting further information out to the public in the next couple of weeks. But this was really put together with a little bit of urging and a lot of help from Darlene McCauley of the community center. So we're very grateful to her because we were trying to figure out how to do this in a way that we could maintain it. But people felt reluctant to be on site, have other folks coming in with stuff, etc. So we think this will work out for this year. Next year we'll get back to the more community social aspect that we've had in the past, which is a big part of it, but not this year.
Great.
So don't throw away the toasters. We'll be there with our sewing machines, and we will fix it. Thank
Never
you.
fixed a toaster.
That's okay. Everybody knows you broke your toaster.
There's a first
But as
time.
far as items of clothing that you need for the winter, things that are really a priority for getting through the winter. Not the bag of mending that you've had sitting around. Just important things.
Super.
So thank you very much for the free advertising.
Excellent.
And we will get information out.
Great. Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for managing to find a way to do this under unusual circumstances. It's greatly appreciated because I think this is how many years? I mean, many years, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of a town tradition. And I guess the one thing I would urge is to whatever extent possible, people manage contact or something like that. Like bring their item in a bag and it stays in a bag and someone works on it, you know.
Make it easy on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In other words, don't end up with a pile of stuff that's all in a pile. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Since you're going through this effort to do it the right way under these health circumstances, I think just taking the extra step of keeping things separated is wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Neil, I appreciate that.
So we'll be returning calls to people to make arrangements, so there won't be any, they'll find out when they call,
Great.
okay?
Yeah. And then we'll get the things to our helpers, we'll get them back from the helpers to the community center to pick up again. But it will be a process that will involve a few people and the process steps, as Neil has said, to keep it safe.
Great. As soon as you guys have a system in place, if you want to email that to me, I can make an announcement at the next meeting as to how this will run at the end of October.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
Great.
Really appreciate the
No
effort.
problem.
And the support from the town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
both. That's great. Anyone else? Citizens Open Forum. Seeing no one else, we will move on to the consent agenda. We have a substantial consent agenda this evening. The first thing is a change of manager for Gateways Inn Properties LLC, doing business as Gateways Inn, is seeking approval for a change of manager to Jeremy Berlin.
I'll put a hold on that, please.
Thank you, Ed. Donation acceptance, Fire Chief O'Brien is seeking permission to accept a monetary donation. Another donation acceptance from Police Chief O'Brien is seeking permission to accept a monetary donation. The Finance Committee would like to...
May I hold, I'm sorry.
Oh, sure.
May I hold those, please?
Certainly. The Finance Committee would like to make an appointment. Christine Cass, the chairwoman of the Finance Committee, is seeking to have Blaise Gregory appointed to the Finance Committee. Next, one-day all alcohol licenses for the Mount. The Mount is seeking approval of 17 one-day liquor licenses. This would be for peak nights at the Stable Cafe during Nightwood, their outdoor winter sound and light experience. An establishment is only allowed 30 one-day liquor licenses per year, and since the Mount did not use 6 of their previously approved licenses, they're hoping that we're willing to include those in the number of licenses issued and grant them the total 17 licenses. This would bring them up to their 30 licenses for the year. The dates and times are Friday, November 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th, December 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 31st from 5 to 9 p.m. Saturdays, November 6th, 13, 20, 27, December 4, 11, and 18 from 5 to 9 p.m. and Thursdays on December 23rd and 30th from 5 to 9 p.m. Once the 2022 annual license renewal period has been completed, they are planning to apply to amend their current all alcohol license to include the area around the stable, so the Mount won't need to apply for one-day liquor licenses in the future. In regard to outdoor entertainment, Seven Hills Inn is seeking permission for a DJ to perform outside for a wedding on Saturday, October 23rd from 5 to 10:30 p.m. And we have a late addition to the consent agenda. Ventford Hall is seeking approval of a one-day all alcohol license for a private event on Tuesday, October 19th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the consent agenda subject to the holds placed.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Let's address the holds. First, the change of manager for Gateways.
Madam Chair, members of the Board of Selectmen, my name is Michael McDonald. I represent Gateways Properties LLC. The application is to change the manager to Mr. Jeremy Berlin. Jeremy is most recently at Blantyre, but as the executive chef, but he has nearly 22 years of experience all over the place, New York, LA, Vegas. He worked with Gordon Ramsay at 3 locations. So extensive experience in culinary, including service of alcohol. He is TIPS trained, and we'd ask that you approve him as the new manager at the Gateways.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think, Jeremy, you've got an outstanding resume. It sounds like you'll do more than an outstanding job for them. We're excited because there's been some really great new blood coming into Lenox and refurbishing a lot of these B&Bs, and I'm sure we'll be happy to see what fantastic things you do at the Gateways.
Thank you. Good luck.
Great.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Yes, good luck to you.
So is that, you've already voted?
Yep,
Thank you.
you guys, we're
Thanks so much.
perfect. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Next.
Very briefly, I just feel that sometimes we almost perfunctory accept these donations and don't often realize how lucky we are that just about every other week when we meet that we have donations. Tonight, they're not, mind-blowing donations, but they're not tiny donations. We have $450 going to the fire and police department from the Lasners and from Fraylinghausen. And I just think it's appropriate to acknowledge and thank the people that make the donations from time to time. And that's what I'm gonna hold.
Excellent, thank you. That's a good idea. And did we have anything else? I think that was it. Great.
You have any votes on those?
Okay, so we'll need to vote on the 3 holds.
So Madam Chair, I vote, is the name there for the new?
Jeremy,
I vote that we approve the Gateways Inn request to change manager to Jeremy Berlin, and I vote that we approve the donation acceptance to the fire department and the donation acceptance to the police department.
Second.
excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
It passes unanimously. Now we're going to move on to general business. We have a first quarter fiscal update from our town manager, Mr. Ketchum.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This was something that we had started a couple of years ago and gotten out of the habit of, and quite frankly, the first quarter is rarely remarkable. Departments are moving forward. There's no truly exceptional activity on the expenditure side of the ledger to warrant any meaningful year-end projections at this point, because we're only 3 months in. We're more or less just maintaining our operations, and the department heads are doing a fine job managing the fiscal resources that the town has entrusted to them. To the extent that there's remarkable activity, it mostly has to do with our reserve position and on the revenue side. We are starting with our reserves. Happy to report that between the general stabilization, fire and rescue apparatus stabilization, and ambulance stabilization funds, the town has $1.3 million in reserve for its 3 named stabilization funds. You all knew that because town meeting acted on those. We continue to maintain a $250,000 reserve for special education, which is the statutory limit that the town is allowed to carry. So we're well positioned there. Free cash was certified in late summer at $4.2 million, which is the second highest certification in the history of the town. A lot of that has to do with surplus revenue, but also some of the cost control measures that the town's put in place. So we can feel pretty good that the town, between all of these various sources, is well positioned in terms of cash. There is also on top of that our American Rescue Plan Act contribution from the feds, both coming from the town allocation as well as the town's share of the county allocation. That's a combined for this fiscal year of about $730,000. Of course, the second half of that will come in the subsequent fiscal year for a grand total of a little over $1.4 million. Everything else seems to be running pretty well and nothing exceptional, but again, very early. But a couple of, one anomaly in particular would be the rooms tax, which is trending quite high for this time of year. So too soon to draw any meaningful conclusions from that up to this point. The biggest tell will be at the end of December, as it is every year. But to date, we've collected $1.16 million in rooms tax, which is substantially more than the town has carried even pre-COVID. So that's hopefully a good harbinger for what we see as a more complete picture coming with the most important piece of the puzzle at the end of December. Meals tax are hitting target. So there's nothing exceptional there. We're a little bit higher than we were last year, which is only slightly lower than we were the year before that. So it's not all that anomalous. Not sure exactly what to attribute that to, but we are on target, so it's helpful.
Chris, on that, when we amended the sidewalk rules, if you will, I don't know if that's the correct term, I think we resulted in a net loss of some seats for quite a few establishments. Is that true? Does anybody know?
I mean, I think the COVID restrictions reduced capacity indoors.
Well, of course there's that, but I mean, we also...
Right. So I think you are correct that what the town was able to make available outside didn't quite compensate for what was lost inside. Yeah, I think that's right.
I'm just noting.
I think it's a net negative. Yeah.
It's a pleasure to hear that it's holding, if not slightly increased, despite some real pressures that we weren't expecting in the second season of the pandemic.
I think a super interesting thing is going to be what happens if and when the emergency order is lifted, probably next spring, that I think people are still going to be very interested in outdoor dining and what kind of accommodations the town may be able to make to continue to provide some access to additional outdoor dining opportunities, but that's going to require us to put our heads together, I think, to make some adjustments to town bylaws.
Yeah, it's clearly what people want. You know, we're gonna have to adjust to it, I think. And, you know, this winter, we should really hit the ground running next spring.
Yeah.
Because, you know, everywhere, that's what people want now, and, you know, they're doing it, so it's we should continue.
I think it adds to the character of the town.
I know, me too.
Lively. We toned down the most, what I'll call dangerous or busy intersection. I don't know if it's technically dangerous because I don't know the accidents there, but it's just always frightful to me to see how many people are in the street at the same time as cars. But on that, Chris, do we, in just very general terms, to what extent were we able to make that happen under, you know, sort of emergency circumstances, and to what degree, if we wanted to make it permanent, outside of emergency circumstances, do we have work to do?
So it's great, actually, that you all have brought this up, because we probably can't begin this conversation soon enough. As Madam Chair pointed out, the ability to do almost all of this expires in April, at least as it's on the books right now, particularly as it has to do with alcohol service. There's a lot of what we can do outside in our parks, for example. We've changed our bylaws to allow seasonal consumption, but that's independent of service. That's something where you go to a restaurant, or you bring your own and take it away, and you're consuming with food. There's no server, there's no bartender. You know, walking into, you know, Lilac Park or Roach Reading Park or anywhere. Where it gets complicated is the ABCC rules around table service on town property. That's something that it adds to the atmosphere of Lenox in a way that you all have articulated very well. But it's something that ABCC would want to see under normal circumstances in a contained area. We have space challenges right now. To add physical barriers on top of that is something we'll have to. It's a challenge we'll have to face creatively if we want to maintain this new vibe that I think we've created for the town. So no better time than now to begin that discussion, I think.
perhaps fences or railings or something like that, which is the least,
Yeah.
you know, obviously the barriers that we did 2 years ago made us nervous about people, foot traffic out in the road.
Absolutely.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what it takes for us to decide to put some railings out in the sidewalks and make them useful to the restaurants, but I'd like to try to promote something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
something we'll have to kick around, and I'm sure we're not the only community in Massachusetts that's thinking of this. So I'm kind of hoping that the state is also thinking about this to make it a little bit easier on everyone. But be that as it may, we should still consider helping.
I think
Helping our
we've
own.
liked 90% of what we've seen.
Yeah,
It's just speaking whimsically as a resident. I mean, I just love being in town,
Yeah.
and it looks like a lot of folks agree with that. It's a wonderful place to be. So it's something that we probably want to maintain moving forward. But there are regulatory challenges to doing that, so we should. It's a good task for staff to set about making that possible for next spring.
excellent.
That's good. Thank you for that feedback. So, again, early, getting back to the fiscal projections, it's just the first quarter. A lot of good news to report on the revenue side. Nothing remarkable to report on the operation and expense side. So we'll just keep after this and look forward to end of December, where we'll have much more meaningful data with a half a year's experience under our belt.
So, may I ask a question? So, just refresh my memory, how did we make out with FEMA money for the storm damage that we suffered during the summer?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, I didn't mean
No,
to
that's
put you on the
okay.
spot.
I don't know I don't know exactly what's been received yet. I mean, we've certainly applied. So
Yes, we did.
I will. I'll get a report to the board on
But what we've applied for, is that something that should cover most of what we had? Okay, that was basically my question.
So it'll be interesting to find out, if we can ever really drill down into the rooms, the increase in the rooms tax, if it's the increase in room rates, if it's
Yes.
pent-up demand, that people are really, wanting to get out and everybody rushed to Lenox, especially that being as the meals tax was on target and that the rooms tax was so much higher. So that'll be interesting to see if DOR provides any information on that.
share whatever I can get my hands on.
Great, great. Thank you so much. This is great news. It's great to know that we have these ARPA funds that we'll be able to put to good use, and that we're on target and exceeding our target, and that we're well within our budget targets on the whole.
Absolutely.
Put us in a good place. I would entertain Board of Selectmen liaison reports. Is there any this time?
Well, I'll start with the Permanent Building Committee. Last week, we interviewed 4 firms to design and make plans for our public safety building. And all different, all very good. As usual, pretty interesting when you get different people, different ideas. We met earlier tonight and we chose one of those firms. Since we just did it, I can't say the name because we have to notify everybody and everything, but, so we're moving forward with that. Chris will notify the one we chose, and we'll just hit the ground running as soon as we can.
Great. That's exciting. Neil?
I was racing from work, so I was unable to participate in that selection, although I think Ed and I were of the same mindset last week. I just think it's very impressive that our small Western Mass town attracted 8 respondents to our RFP, and we narrowed it down to 4 to interview, and they were extraordinarily professional. Didn't just give us a canned presentation, knew a lot about our particular situation, our 2 forces, our geography, our locations. So I'm very excited about the project.
Excellent, excellent. The Affordable Housing Trust has submitted paperwork to the Department of Housing and Community Development for our affordable housing homeownership program. We anticipate that after a 30-day review, we will be getting information to go ahead and put our marketing materials out and start to receive applications into the program. Construct is going to be handling the marketing, advertising, application collection, and lottery for the 2 homes that we own that we will be lotterying off, hopefully by the end of the calendar year or early next calendar year, to 2 income-eligible households to purchase 2 homes that we are trying to turn over to income-eligible households. So that's pretty exciting. Otherwise?
No, I haven't got anything tonight.
Okay, great.
Lately, we're wearing my tree warden hat. There's a lot of complaints about trees that are supposedly dead or in bad shape, and they aren't necessarily. What we found more often than not, and I use help from Ron Kioski, who writes for the Eagle in the gardening column each week. He helps me a great deal with the tree disease insect issues. And his observation is, in fact, we had a complaint someone thought it was Dutch elm disease we had on a tree in the library lot. He doesn't believe that's the case. It's the same situation is happening a lot. And that is, we had an awful lot of rain, an awful lot of wind, and it did a tune on a lot of trees, and they apparently suffer from other causes. But it's not necessarily the case. So we're looking into those things, and I think we're getting ahead of them. And we're taking out what we know we need to take out, and leaving certainly those we don't have to. So that's that.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks, Warren.
I have one last thing. I was curious to know if folks would want to entertain changing our meeting time from 7 o'clock at night to an earlier time, perhaps 5 or 5:30. I know that some of us can do that, but not potentially all of us.
I would like to.
Okay, go ahead and hit me with that.
But I know,
Go ahead and go around the room. Chris, you probably like that. Clarence is thumbing,
I don't have a
thumbs
vote.
up in. How about you? What do you think? No? Thumbs down?
My other job ends at 5.
there you go.
5:30 or 6. I know this is hard because, you're all over the state and it's not easy for you.
It's just not predictable. I'd love to say that I walk out of my office at a regular time and arrive here, but usually it's searching in my back seat for a clean shirt and racing here from somewhere. So, I'll get whatever needs to be done. 5 is certainly a struggle for me. Maybe we could take baby steps. I could try 6 and see if you guys are happy with 6.
That seems reasonable. You want to give that a shot?
Are we okay with that?
I understand.
I'll go along with the majority.
I can be flexible.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel like the one guy that's
Well, we don't want to,
pulling us out of 5.
We're a team here, we're a
That's right.
team.
We can
Thank
keep
you,
it at
Ed.
7, but if we try 6 and if it really just doesn't work, we'll certainly go back to 7.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Now just help those guys remind us, because you know that I will walk in at 7
Okay.
next time.
I'll text you every hour on the hour on the next Wednesday. Okay, so we'll give 6 o'clock a shot at the next meeting, which is going to be Wednesday, October 20th. And we'll shoot for 6 p.m. Of course, we'll have to let Mary Ellen know that too. But that's what we'll try to do. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, after 30 and a half minutes, I will entertain a motion to, actually, I will make a move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you very much.